Yeah, better.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I think we can begin. It's already 9:32. We've already waited for about 5 minutes. So,
Just give me a second, man. Okay. Now we've last time I started org mode essentially from scratch. Um, is that okay? Should we just continue on that track? Now, what we had done last time was the basic structure of an org mode document. I think towards the end, I introduced how the lists are created, right? Now, one thing that one needs to do is okay. So one is using footnotes. So you can either go using the menu, you do F10 to get to the menu, and then editing footnote new or footnote extra. Okay, footnote new would insert a footnote, which is basically a link starting with keyword FN, and it starts a footnote with a heading title footnote, and you can type your footnote here. This is my footnote. Okay. And this is a clickable link. Which means I can click here and I can go here, and I click here and I can go here. Okay. Click here.
is it by default clickable, or you?
By default clickable, since the only thing is that since Emacs is running in the console mode, I had to turn on external mouse mode. The mouse clicks are not accessible without. So if you turn the external mouse mode, mouse clicks become accessible in the console mode. If you are running Emacs on your own machine in a GUI mode, then it will work anyway.
So can you explain once again how you're able to get the menu bar on the top, like file edit options?
Oh. So I do menu bar mode, Meta X menu bar mode, and I get the menu on the top. I keep the menu disabled by default because it's unnecessary. You don't really need it. But if you want to, if you're using something where you don't know the command, it may be handy. So you can turn it on by Meta X menu bar mode, and then F10 opens this menu. Once you have the menu showing up, even if in fact you don't have the menu showing up, F10 would. So look at this, there's no menu, but I can still do F9, F10, and it gives me these options. Okay, so it's showing me O for org. So I go to O, and then it shows me various options under O and so on. So this is one way of using it. The other way of using it is to turn the menu bar mode on, and then you have a top menu like you would have in any other application. And then F10 opens something which is more graphic. You can go like this, press enter, go like this, press enter. And it's showing you also the command that is used. So Next time you don't need to do this. You can just do Control C, Control X, F, right? So next time I want to insert a footnote, I just do Control C, Control X, F, and that inserts a footnote. Yeah.
Yes.
This is okay. Now footnotes are how the footnotes are exported depends on your export option. So, LaTeX would have its own way of exporting footnotes. The defaults normally are okay. So you don't really need to worry about formatting of footnotes unless you have some very specific requirements. The ordering of footnotes is taken care of automatically. So it doesn't matter when you insert a footnote, the order does not follow what you are seeing in the org buffer is not ordered. Okay, so for example, if I do F10 and now insert another footnote, so I have a footnote 3. This is third footnote. As you can see, they are being inserted in a reverse order here, and they are inserted wherever you insert. So you see footnote 3 was inserted here, which is above footnote 1, right? Now, when you export the document, this should not be a problem. It will get exported properly. So this would become footnote 1, this would become footnote 2, and this would become footnote 3 when you export it. But if you want to correct it also in the org buffer, you can again do F10, go here, editing, footnote extra, and use these options. So you can sort them, you can renumber them, and you can sort and renumber them. So I will just do capital S, and then this becomes FN1, FN2, FN3, and here they become FN1, FN2, FN3. Okay. So at any point you can
what
just
is the difference
reorder
between
and sort.
sorting and
Sorry?
numbering?
Sorry?
So what is the difference? What is the difference between sorting and numbering?
So one is numbering, is numbering, and the other is this sorting. That they appear in the right order here.
Okay, yeah.
But this only affects what you are seeing in the org buffer, in the org file. Okay, the export is automatically taken care of anyway, even if they are not in the right order, it doesn't matter. Okay. Now this brings me also to now what you are seeing here, FN1, FN2, etc., are actually a special case of links. Okay, now you can use links in many different ways. You can link to files. So for example, if I did something like this, image.png, this would essentially insert an image here. Okay, this file, which if there is a file like this, which has a graph or an image that you want to insert in the document, this would basically bring that image in. Okay, now you can modify properties of this using things like this. For LaTeX, you can use things like this. So this would squeeze it to half of the text width. Okay, or you could specify it in pixels. So you could say 1200 px, and that would make it reduce it to 1200 pixels, or you could use 3 inches and so on. Okay, so you can use different units to specify width, either absolute sizes or relative sizes, and this would squeeze it, maintaining the ratio of width to height. Okay, now this is another kind of link. You could also have URLs. sorry, this should be double square brackets. Now it's a link. Okay. You could also have a link like this. You know, this is just a hyperlink to. So when this is exported, it will be exported as a hyperlink. So you will be able to click in the document to go to this page. Okay. Now this is being done by inserting 2 square brackets. Okay, it's written inside 2 square brackets. Okay. If you want, you can also use this. Now it's a hyperlink to www.google.com, but the label here will say Google. So you would say YouTube, say okay, now this is a link to YouTube. This is a link to Google and so on. So you can have a link to a URL, you can have link to a particular file. You could also have, sorry, this. You could also have you could have okay, let me come to properties in a moment. What are the other kinds of links you could have? Okay, one thing you would have is, for example, a table is given a name. Table 1. And I could link to table 1. Okay, now this links to this table. Okay, the cursor jumps here the moment I click here. Okay, now I could write things like this. Table 1 shows that work participation rate okay. Now this, when exported, would export as table 1 shows that work participation rates for women are lower than work participation rates for men. Okay, and the numbering is automatic, so you don't have to worry about numbering. It will take care of numbering depending on the sequence in which the tables appear, which means that you can move about your tables and your text will automatically adjust. So you don't say table 1 shows that. You say table 1 shows that. Each table is given a name, and that name is then referred to in the text. Is that clear?
So could you repeat the last part?
So you see, any table, or for that matter, any image, this image can be given a name, should be given a name. Okay, let's call this figure 1. Okay, or let's say WPR figure, a graph that you made about work participation rates. And suppose I move this down here. I make a table and a graph. I can say table this and figure WPR figure show that. Okay, now this will become table 1 and figure 1. Okay, or whatever is the number, whatever is the sequence in which they appear. Okay. So if there is another figure before this, it will become table 1 and figure 2. Now, if I move this about, then the numbering that's assigned to these will automatically adjust. Okay, so that's an advantage, because of which it is better to use this syntax of writing rather than doing this. So I will not write like this. this will automatically be exported like this with two advantages. One advantage is that the numbering is automatic. So even if I move things around, the numbering gets corrected on its own. The second advantage is that these numbers will be in the output, in the PDF file that you generate or HTML file that you generate, would be clickable links. So you can click on this and it will take you to table 1. Okay, automatically, if you use this syntax, these numbers will automatically become clickable links. Is that clear?
Sir, so where you've drawn the table and where you specify name table 1,
Yeah.
when you export this through LaTeX, is it going to export this as table 1 : table 1, or is it going to just
It'll export
say
as
table 1?
Table number 1. It'll export like this. This is how it will be exported. This
No,
is
no,
how,
not the statement that you were referring to, but I'm talking about, you
in
know,
the
this
table here?
just
Now,
yeah.
What I'm going to do here is also provide a caption.
Yes.
Okay, work participation rates of men and women, rural and urban India, 2018-19. And maybe I'll say this. Okay. Now I will give this a caption. Now this would be exported as table 1 dot or colon, however you specify it, and then the caption. So this table will have a caption. That caption will have a number, and that number would be same as this number. Okay, and this would click, when you click this, it will take you here. Is that clear? Now, the basic rule, LaTeX has a rather complex algorithm for placement of the table. In the final output, this table will not be placed exactly here. Okay. What LaTeX does is it uses an algorithm to optimize placement of tables and figures subject to the following rules: that any table should preferably appear on the same page where it's first referred to, or as soon as possible after that. Okay. Now that's the basic rule. You can control this in different ways. Okay. You can increase the penalty that's given to the distance from first citation. Okay. But it is best to allow the tables and figures to float. Let LaTeX determine the position rather than trying to use a specific position. Okay, that's usually a bad idea. That's mostly a bad idea. So you don't fix a position. You don't say, you see, when you are, for example, using something like Word, a table or a figure just appears wherever you insert it. Okay, that's not how it works in LaTeX. In LaTeX, these would be what are called floats. So they would float to whatever is the optimal position. Okay, is that clear? Now,
how
Yes,
is
sir.
this optimal position
Yeah.
decided?
Sorry?
How is this optimal position decided?
Basically, it strikes a balance between distance from the first citation and the amount of white space. You want to minimize the white space. Okay, you don't want a table coming in at a place where it doesn't fit, and therefore white space is left. And then, am I being clear when I say white space? Suppose you have a table which takes 3/4 of a page, okay, but the space you have left is half a page. Then in Word, you would basically insert white space and the table will have to be moved to the next page. Okay, you'll have to basically insert a page break. or you manually moved some text up. In this, the positioning of the text and table is optimized. So it will automatically bring some text up and move the table to the next page so that the table gets its 3/4 space. Is that making sense? Let me maybe open a PDF file. So, for example, let's look at some tables. Look at this table 1. Now, table 1.1 is referred to here. It is automatically placed here. Okay, this is closed. Then let's say table 1.2. Now, table 1.2 is here, right? Now, it perhaps did not fit here. So what it does is it moves some text up and takes the table to the next page. This is what I'm saying. So optimizing. Now, what I would do is I would perhaps place the table here in the org file, but the table is not placed directly here. The table is placed to the next best place where the table would fit without pushing it too far down. It should not be, you should not need to flip too many pages to reach the table when you refer to the text. When it's referred to in the text. Look at this, table 1.3. Table 1.3 appears actually just before the reference. It appears before the reference because it's on the same page. If it was not fitting on the same page, it would not come before the reference. So a table or a figure can come before the first reference only if it's going to be on the same page. Okay, and the preference is to put the table on top rather than putting table in the middle of a page. Top and bottom are preferred rather than putting in the middle of the page for the readability. Now this is a white space. Okay, but this is a white space because it's end of the chapter. Okay, it's minimizing white spaces in the middle. Okay, now this is unavoidable because I had a figure that is actually landscape. It takes a full page. And this was not a floating figure. So I had to just manually place it because it was going to take a page. Okay. So that's essentially what I mean by optimizing the location, the position of figures and tables. Is that sort of clear? The thing you have to get used to is that it is not going to appear right here. So what you should do is in org, you should place it as soon as you cite it first. And this would then move it, either move it up so long as it's on the same page, or move it down subject to it's not being moved too far down. Is that making sense? Okay, so you,
the last part, the last part that you said.
What I'm saying is that the best thing to do is to place it soon after the first time you cite. Okay, so you just move it somewhere like here. Now, what would this do is that this would move it down, so as to minimize white space, but will not move it down too much. In a few cases, it may even move it up so long as it remains on the same page and it helps in optimizing white space. But if I move it, if I place it here, then it will move it either, it will move it down. Okay, but it's already down. It's already way below the first citation. Okay, so that's not a good idea. So best is to place it soon after the first reference, so that if it's not moved down too much from the first reference. Okay, so the anchor becomes the first reference. The distance from the first reference is what then matters. So I would place it like immediately after the first para where the table or the figure is cited. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. What else then? Okay.
Yes, sorry, I lost internet in between, I think. I lost you when you were talking about the particular figure. So should I understand from this that the figures or the images, so to say, are not taken as floats, whereas the tables are? But
both are floats. Both are by default floats. They
Okay.
should be treated as floats. No, both are floats.
okay.
No,
Right.
there can be other things also that are floats. So, for example, this is a float. This box is a float.
Oh, you were referring, like when I lost internet, you were referring to that particular map of the world.
Oh, that one. Oh,
Yeah.
that in particular has been turned into a non-floating image. This particular image has been was specified as non-floating because I had to landscape it. So I had to decide where this landscape page is going to be. Okay, because this is actually cutting the whole structure. No, it's a break in the entire structure of the document. There are suddenly 4 landscape pages inserted. Now this would have to be, so you cannot have text floating up into these pages. The text has to break. Okay, so where you want that break to happen will have to be figured out, because it's not, I mean, it cannot be it's not a question of optimizing it. But look at this box. Okay, this box is taking about 3/4 of the page and is a float. Okay, so it allows, now if I have too many rigidities in between, too many things that are rigidly fixed, then it cannot float very well. It doesn't optimize. So you shouldn't have too many things which have fixed positioning, like these landscape figures are. Also, this landscape table has the same thing. This table is not a floating table. It has been placed here. Okay, so which meant that ensuring that the white space is minimized is a manual task, which is not a great situation. It can happen. You are going to be able to do it with a couple of figures and tables, but you can't do it for the entire document. You'll never be able to do it as well as the algorithm does. Yeah. So by default, for most tables and figures, just keep them floating, and then you allow LaTeX to take care of their position. What is?
I had one more.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, there was also someone who was saying.
No, continue. I'll ask you.
Nancy, go on.
So how do we fix location of tables or figures?
Well, you basically say it's not a floating figure. You do attribute LaTeX float, and now it's not floating.
Okay.
It will be where it is. Those particular ones were actually wrapped in a landscape environment. They were made landscape, and the landscape environment means that it's not a floating table. So I use something called special environments, which happens like this. And everything in between, begin and end, is in this case landscape. But there can be other things also. There will be other things that we'll specify. Okay, so for example, I have this. Okay, now this is a nice nice fully complete, let's say, framework for inserting a table. Okay, I put a name here, table 1. I put a caption of my table. It uses tabular X. I can specify my column types, L, L, X, X, X. Okay, I insert the table here, and I don't need this. And I can insert notes here. Now this is using, now look at this. This is an interesting elaborate thing. This is,
Sir, what did you type to get this?
I did this. So now this is using a snippet. This is predefined in your Emacs configuration. You do this 3-part. Okay, this is a 3-part table. There is a library called 3-part table in LaTeX. This is using 3-part table. Okay, this inserts this. Okay, now what is this doing? So this table has 3 parts. There is the caption part of the table, the top of the table itself, and then table notes. Okay, where you write notes and sources and things like that. Okay, now this is a nice, so what would I say? RBI, NSSO, or whatever you want to write. Okay, now this would export nicely as a table which will have a caption and the notes, and the entire thing floats together. Okay, so the notes remain stuck to the table at the bottom. They are nicely formatted. It's using the org syntax, and it's nicely exported to LaTeX. Now, please note here I'm using many begin and end commands. Okay, now these are nested. So this is begin footnote size, end footnote size. Begin table notes, end table notes. Begin 3-part table, end 3-part table. Begin table star, end table star. Okay, so there is a whole nested environment. Okay, now what is the structure? The basic structure is actually just this. Caption, table, and then table notes. Okay, that's essentially what we want, right? Now, this is the table part of it, or let's say this is the table part of it. Okay, here is your caption, and this is your notes part of it. Okay, now the notes part of it, begin footnote size, end footnote size would reduce the font size. Okay, that is the size of the main text, and the footnote size is slightly smaller. So I am saying here, this between this and this, use footnote size of the font. Okay, from here to here are the notes. Now this exports in LaTeX like this. Begin table notes. Begin footnote size. Okay, and then there will be the list will be exported, and then it will end as end table notes. Begin table notes. Oh, sorry. Table notes and okay, this is the LaTeX equivalent of what is written here. So when you export this, this is what you will get. Is that okay?
So what does the mbox do?
Mbox actually creates a blank space here, because I want, you see, one way of writing this would have been, if I just have a single note, I would just write this. then I would just write this. But if I have multiple nodes, then I need a separate line. So this just writes and basically places empty text here, blank space here, so that I can have basically a whole bunch of nodes. Okay. Now these could be numbered, or I could use this. Or if I have, you know, suppose I have superscript here. So I have rural, urban, something. Suppose I have a table like this. Suppose I have a table like this, and I have superscript A, superscript B, and I have a note that is meant for A and a note for B. Okay, so things like that. This should be just still. Otherwise, it will be turned into 1 and 2. We treat it as a list. Okay, whatever. So this is basically an org syntax. So you are using here, this is used when you have multiple nodes to a table. But if you have a single node to table, you just cut this out and just use this. And this will work.
So what does book tab do?
What?
Book tabs. What does book tabs do?
Oh, book tabs. Book tabs, I'll tell you what book tabs is. Book tabs inserts this line in the middle. This horizontal rules. Horizontal rules. These nice horizontal rules. Let me show you this table. So nice. Let me find a more recent document. Sorry. Yeah, this is book tabs. Okay, the book tabs is inserting these 3 lines. And look, this line is slightly thicker than this line. And this is again a thick line. Okay, book tabs would insert nice horizontal lines. Let me see if I can. Oh, terrible. What is this? I've messed up. Sorry, I messed up this document. Let me just get hold of this document. I've been fiddling with that file because of the new citation syntax. Okay. All right. Now this is a 3-part syntax table. Look at this. This is a nice 3-part table syntax. Okay. Now this is what book tabs is giving me. Book tabs is giving me these 3 rules. Okay. The caption, the table, and the notes. Okay. Let's pick up something nicer. Okay. Look at this. Okay. Book tabs, caption, note, and look at this half line, or look at this half line. Okay, this is what is called a mid rule. This is a top rule, bottom rule, mid rule, and this is a C mid rule. It's a it's a fraction of a. You define how many rows, how many columns should this cover. Okay, let me show you the syntax for this.
I was wondering why, there, like in the PDF that you just showed, so there are quite a few tables that I could see which are covering about not the entire width of the page, but just like about half or 3/4 of the page, right?
Yeah.
Is there a reason why we prefer this over the table covering the entire width of the page?
It's my choice. If I could stretch it to the entire width, the problem is that the numbers are then too far apart. It's easier to read the numbers. They're too far from each other.
Okay.
The distance, it's unnecessarily spaced out.
But the caption of the table is actually going through, like yeah.
That it is.
So can we place it in the center then? The table center alignment.
Yes, I could. Yeah. Maybe I should have, but yeah, this one, for example, is spaced out. Okay, I'm using wider space. Yeah, it depends. One has to choose what. But that's a choice that I'm making. I'll show you where the choice is made. Okay, now here, look at this. I've said half of text width. If I didn't, it would not do this. Okay, this says 0.7, 70% of the text width. Okay, okay, now there is some, oh, look at this. Okay, now here I'm using this syntax. Now this is a useful syntax. Now this is a hack that I've created. It's configured for your systems. So if you're going to use it, you should make sure that you take the Emacs configuration that we are using. This is saying draw a line at this place, as in below the first row, from second column to third column. And this is saying draw a horizontal line in the row below the first row from 4th to 6th column. Yeah. Now let me show you. This is distribution of owned land across. Now it says